That's so embarrassing.
I felt so dumb.
Can I just disappear?
Embarrassing Stories Podcast with Leslie and Derek. Hey everyone, welcome to Embarrassing Stories with Leslie and Derek.
Hi.
This is our 6th episode. Can you believe it, Les, that we're on episode 6?
No, I can't believe how fast it's gone. And a whole nother week is passed, and
The time's just flying by.
it's flying. It's so crazy.
We hope you all had a fantastic week, and we thank you for joining us for this episode.
We're glad you're here. Our week was really busy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my whole body aches. We were working so hard.
It's going to take us a while to recover from all the work that we did. We were outside working in the yard, front yard, and backyard. Leslie, do you want to tell them what you've been doing in the backyard?
I started my first garden.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have food.
Yeah.
Lots of food. I've never had a garden that was my own before, and it's kind of stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just went outside an hour ago and sprayed my plants with some dish soap mixed into water to hopefully get rid of the squash bugs that are trying to kill my squash plants. It's weird. Gardening's different than I'm used to.
Gardening is definitely a different experience. I haven't done anything with it. It's kind of been her project to do, and she's doing a great job. We have stuff sprouting up, and we'll see how it goes and how it tastes.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
But enough about that. Derek, I think you should tell the first story. And so take it away.
Alrighty, this first story is one from my own experience, and I've mentioned in previous episodes how I have so many embarrassing stories that I could share like one per episode for probably a year. So this is my embarrassing story for this episode. And this one takes me all the way back to 5th grade.
That was a long time ago.
It was a really long time ago. And
I mean, aren't you like 60 now?
slowly but surely getting there. So to lead off with this story, I'm going to ask you a question, Leslie.
No thanks.
I'm interested to hear your answer.
Okay, hit me.
Have you ever tried to impress a person or a group of people so much that you almost drown? Kind of a strange question, but...
No, but I used to swim a ton, and so I could see how that could happen.
Yeah. Well, in this experience, I was trying to impress a young lady that I started liking in 1st grade, and I liked her from 1st grade all the way up to 5th grade.
That young?
That young, yep. Liked her for about 5 years.
So is this post-Cinderella or pre-Cinderella?
This would be post-Cinderella.
Derek's first crush was Cinderella.
She let the cat out with that one. Yeah, so I was in 5th grade. I liked this girl, and one of my really good friends, he liked another girl that was friends with the girl I liked. So on this particular day, we went to a water park, me and 2 of my friends. And it was Raging Waters. It was a water park that was in Salt Lake. It doesn't exist anymore. But back in the day, it was a huge hangout spot. It was fun.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, everybody went there in the summer. They had, really awesome water slides, a whole bunch of water slides. They had a wave pool. They had rope swings, all kinds of stuff you can think of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this really fun water park attraction. And we went there this day because it was a discount day if you wore your DARE shirt, the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program.
I graduated from that program.
Mm-hmm. Me too. And if you wore your DARE shirt, you'd get a discount. It was like half off. So me and my 2 friends, we thought, hey, let's go to the water park and have some fun. So we get there. We've been there for maybe a half hour, and then we see the two girls that me and my friend both like. They were there that same day.
Oh, sure. Coincidence.
It was a coincidence.
I think not. I'm just kidding.
I don't think that young we were smart enough to try to plan something like that out. But yeah, it was a coincidence. We were surprised to see him, but we were excited to see him. And we kind of grouped together and we were going around to these different pools and water attractions together. But I did not really know how to swim. My dad had kind of showed me strokes, not in a pool, but kind of outside of the pool, told me, swimming stroke techniques and things like that. And so...
But you didn't know?
No, I hadn't practiced it in a pool or anything like that.
Well, you shouldn't have been there then.
I shouldn't have. Well,
Not at a water slide park.
Well, a lot of the water slide pools were only like 3 feet.
Yeah.
Which I was taller than 3 feet. So I thought if I'm in water if I can be taller than the water I'm in, then I'm going to be fine,
Yeah.
So we're in a group with these two girls and we get over to a small pool that has one rope swing. So it's just one rope hanging down in the middle and you have to use this pole to reach out to pull that
the rope
rope towards you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that you can grab it and swing and then land in the pool. And the pool was 9 feet deep. And so I thought, you know what? That's way too deep. That's like 2.5 of me. So there's no way I'm doing that. And so I watched my two friends that were with me do it. And then the two girls also did it. And I just kind of hung out by the side and watched. But we get over to another pool after that, and it's only 5 feet. So I'm thinking, okay, that's still, that's...
Do you think you were shorter than 5 feet at the time?
Yeah, I think so. I was right around there, probably, a few inches under that. So I was nervous about that, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this one. And it was a smaller pool like the other one was, but it had one rope that went from one side of the pool to the other. And it was probably about, I'd say, 25, 30 feet across the pool.
Jeez, I wouldn't have tried it.
Yeah, I was pretty scared, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to chicken out on a second one. I'm not going to chicken out on 2 in a row. This one's 5 feet. I should be able to handle it. And
I can see where this is going.
So I let everybody else go first. Nobody makes it all the way across the pool. They end up getting, a third of the way or halfway, and then they just don't have enough strength to hold on to the rope anymore, and they let go, land in the pool, pop right back up, swim to the edge, and get out of the pool. So now I'm the last one, so everybody's watching me. And I put both hands on the rope, and I slowly start going across this rope. And I'm going way slow, and I'm looking down, and my arms are getting tired, and I've maybe only gotten about 5 or 6 feet out onto this rope, away from the edge of the pool.
Uh-oh.
And I just hang there for a minute looking at the pool, knowing that I can't hold on any longer, and it's inevitable. I'm going to have to let go. I'm going to land in the pool, and I'm going to have to try to swim to the side.
Or have the lifeguard save you.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a lifeguard around. I do not remember seeing a lifeguard, at least in the pool we were in. There might have been a lifeguard kind of off somewhere else that wasn't too far, but there definitely wasn't a lifeguard right there with us. So eventually I can't hold on any longer. I let go. I drop into the pool. I feel my feet hit the bottom of the pool, so I push back up so I can hurry and get back up out of the water. And I take a big breath, and I go back under, and I'm just hopping up and down for a minute. And I'm I want to swim, but it's just not working as I'm trying to stroke my arms, and I'm still hopping up and down. And I'm starting to panic, and after probably about 10 seconds, by some miracle, I make my way to the edge of the pool, and I'm able to pull myself out.
Jeez.
And both of my buddies are laughing. They're on the side, just kind of laughing. The girls were laughing a little bit too, but they had more concern than my friends did. But man, it stunk because my friends, both of my friends that I was with, they were good swimmers for us being in 5th grade. The girls both swam really well. I was just the odd duck that day that didn't know how to swim. Now I can swim just fine. I can be in, any depth of water. I love going swimming. But at that time, I just hadn't been taught really. Yeah, I kind of knew
You
the
hadn't
theory of
put
it,
it
but
to the test.
yeah, hadn't put it into practice. But that was my embarrassing experience at the water park that day.
Well, was it worth it?
I would say it was because that was the only bad experience that day. The rest of the day, we did the water slides, we did other stuff, and we weren't in any deeper water than about 3 feet, 3 or 4 feet. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I hope our kids never do that.
Yeah. I mean, water, if you don't know how to swim, be very cautious of how deep of water you get into. And don't let anyone pressure you into going into deeper water than you're comfortable with, because that's when bad things can happen. So,
I don't think anybody else will do what you did.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm sure it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you need to learn how to swim, folks.
But I look back and I think, man, I'm glad I did not attempt that 9-foot pool, because it would have been so much worse. I'm sure I would have had to have a lifeguard, or else probably my 2 friends and the 2 girls would have all jumped in and tried to help me. And that would have been even more embarrassing. So it was a good thing I didn't try that one.
Huge disaster. I'm sure you couldn't have bounced from the bottom up to the top to catch your breath.
No way. It would have been a sunken ship in that one.
Ugh.
But you need to know your limits, and I think I realize my limits now. So
That's good. If not, I'm always here to let you know what your limits are.
keep me in line. Yeah. But enough about that story. Let's swing it over to you, and let's hear what you have to share for us, and it better make us laugh.
It's more gross. It's a story about me, and it's more gross. So if you're eating, stop it.
Fair warning.
All right. So when I was younger, I want to say maybe about 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So what would that be? 10?
Yeah.
9? 10?
10.
Yeah, 9 or 10. I ended up getting a fever, and I still remember I had hit 104.6.
Ooh, man.
I couldn't hardly walk. I was just laying on the couch.
Isn't that the point where you need to go to the hospital when it's above like 104?
I don't know. My cousin has hit 107 before.
Ugh.
And he was like
107.
thrown into a bathtub with ice cubes.
It's like Sahara Desert temperature.
Yeah, that's like the danger
Not quite,
zone, close to like brain damage zone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But 104.6, I hope to never experience that again.
Yeah.
So I was throwing up a ton. I couldn't keep anything down. And my mom wanted to take me to the doctor, and I was technically all for it. I just didn't want to be there because I was so sick.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be at the doctor anyways.
Yeah. Well, I remember we pulled up. I couldn't really walk, so like I put all my weight on my mom and had my arm around her, and she had her arm around me trying to hold me up. And she was also carrying a ice cream bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever throw up in an ice cream bucket?
No, we'd kind of use bowls.
Oh, yeah.
But I can see how, ice cream buckets, they kind of second as a nice puke bucket.
Yeah.
If you need that.
Yeah, so my mom would keep those big ones if we'd get ice cream from that for just in case if we got sick.
Yeah.
Which they worked really good, super disgusting. But she held me up. She carried that bowl in, and we had to check in and talk to the people at the desk. And my mom said to him, like, oh, my daughter's so sick. She hasn't been able to stop throwing up. Could you just put us in a room? I don't think you want her out in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of looked at my mom and they were like, no.
Jeez.
And so, which, I mean, you kind of get it. And then at the same time, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
You probably don't want her out here. My mom checked again. I was like, are you sure? Because she'd probably do better in a room. Like, we can still wait our turn. But she's really disgusting. So, again, they were like, And so we went and we sat down in the waiting area, and it was packed with people. Everybody was sick, but I don't know if they all had the same issue that I was having, but there were a ton of people.
When it rains, it pours with sickness.
Yeah. And so all these people, are sitting there waiting for their turn. And I'm like, I grab the bucket and I just start barfing. It was a barf fest. Oh, it was so gross. Just over and over and over again in this big ice cream bucket.
And everybody starts standing up and they're like, fill it, fill it, fill it.
No, they did start standing up, but you know what happened? They walked out.
Well, hey, that's a way to clear the waiting room so you get in faster for your own appointment. I see your strategy there.
Yeah, it was pretty clever. No, people would get up, walk out. You could tell they were really disgusted. They definitely didn't want to catch what I had.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just getting up and leaving. I mean, we probably cleared out 3/4 of the waiting room.
Oh.
And then
people are like, I'd rather deal with my sickness and not see the doctor than to be here with this lady that's just blowing chunks.
This kid is going to get everybody sick. So the horrible thing was, I remember my mom gave me some apple juice because she was trying to get me to drink anything, and also hoping that something would stay in me and not upset my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So we had tried different things. I had a little bit of water, and eventually she gave me some apple juice. And that stuff came up as hot apple cider.
Oh, gross.
I have never had apple cider since. And I rarely drink apple juice, and Derek can vouch for that.
Very true.
Rarely. Ugh. It's
too bad that an experience like that can ruin something for you.
Oh, yeah, especially apple juice. I mean, it used to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So these people are walking out like crazy. I mean, they'd already checked in. They already gave their insurance and paid copays and whatever, and they just got up and walked out.
Did any of the staff there come and say anything, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they weren't too happy with us.
But it's like you gave them 2 warnings.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't anything we could do. We asked, my mom was like, I don't think you want her in your waiting room. Like, when it rains, it pours, and she just keeps barfing.
Yeah.
So they came over. Somebody came over. I think it was the lady who told us no. And she did not look happy. She was mad. And she was like, follow me.
But you made it all in the bucket, right?
Yeah,
you didn't leave a mess for anybody to have to clean up?
No, there was no mess. But, I mean, if I was sitting next to me, I'd leave. What if there was splashback?
Yeah.
But, yeah, this lady comes over, follow me. And my mom was kind of like, I told you.
Yeah.
But it's super embarrassing. That's the only time I've ever thrown up in front of people. And I'm hoping it never happens again because it's so gross. Everybody's like looking at you like you have the plague.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They're probably thinking, I have no idea what this girl has, but I'm getting out of here so I don't get it.
Yeah.
Whatever she has is worse than what I've got, so I'm out of here. See you later.
I'm still like almost gagging at the thought of that sickness and hot apple cider. Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Sorry to all those people in the waiting room. I couldn't control myself. Okay, Dare, what story do you have for us?
Okay, I'm up. Here we go. Have you ever had an experience where you haven't seen a friend or somebody you knew in a long time and you just cannot remember their name? Maybe not so much a friend, but somebody that you knew, and then it's been a really long time. You see them, you remember their face, you know who they are, you just cannot remember their name.
No, not really. I'm the person who normally remembers the other people, and I feel like everybody forgets me. And they're like, "Who are you again?"
You're the forgettable one.
Oh, I know.
You're not forgettable.
To them, I am.
I think it's natural for everybody to forget those things sometimes. I know I consider myself to have a pretty good memory, especially when it comes to faces. But and names, I'm good at remembering names. But just every once in a great while, I'll maybe struggle with a name. But a lot of times it will come to me in just enough time. But this experience comes from my sister, Jacqueline. This happened to her a few years ago. And so she was serving as a young women's leader in her church. And there was a young woman from another ward who would attend with her friend in the ward that my sister was in. She says this girl was adorable. She really liked her. And years later, my sister continued to keep contact with her over Facebook. And this girl even invited my sister to her high school graduation and mission farewell for her church.
That was nice of her.
Yeah, it's nice to get those kind of invites and know that, people appreciate your friendship.
Yeah.
And you can keep in touch like that. That's really cool. So my sister Jacqueline writes, just a few months ago, not long after she returned from her mission, she decided to surprise my sister with a visit, and she dropped cinnamon rolls at her doorstep. When my sister answered the door, she could not think of this young lady's name.
Oh.
She said for the life of her, she could not figure it out. She sat there thinking. She was, trying to hurry and remember her name, but it just wasn't coming to her.
That's when you just go, "Oh, thanks, sweetheart." Oh, you.
Yeah. I haven't seen you forever. How have things been? Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
And it's even worse when they remember your name.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she was like, hey, like Jacqueline or, Jackie.
Especially if she's dropping off cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you can't reciprocate that and remember their name and call them by name, then it's...
It's rough.
It's rough. My sister's husband came into the room, and she said that she couldn't introduce this young lady by her name because it had totally left her mind. As they sat there on the porch talking, she thought of every letter in the alphabet and every possible name she could think of, and nothing was right. Nothing rung a bell. And she's just trying to figure out this young lady's name.
Ashley, Brittany.
Yeah.
Kara.
Candace, Doris. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Dorothy. That's rough. How do you, listen to somebody when they're talking to you when you have all that going on in your head?
You have to be a serious multitasker to do that. So at this point, she said panic was setting in. She was afraid that she was going to have to say her name and wouldn't be able to think of it. So this visit went on for quite a while, and 30 minutes into it, she started thinking maybe her name was Alyssa. So the name Alyssa started to kind of ring a bell. She's like, I'm going to, you know what, that might be right. I might just go with Alyssa.
No, don't do it. Just call her sweetheart.
Yeah. Sweetheart.
Don't say a name.
So was it Alyssa? Let's find out. Of all the names that she considered, that felt the most right to her. So as my sister's youngest daughter approached both of them on the porch, she asked my sister who her friend was. And my sister...
It's always kids.
Yeah. And my sister's reply was, "This is my sweet friend, Alyssa." So after saying that, she turned back to her friend, and her friend didn't say anything to correct her, but she just had her usual friendly smile on her face, but her face went red, and she could tell immediately that she had said the wrong name. So this young lady didn't correct her, but just from her red face, my sister knew, I didn't say the right name. It's not Alyssa. She felt terrible about it, but she said neither of them mentioned that she had just made a big mistake. She was forgiving enough to continue with the conversation, so they talked for a little while longer and not bring it to my sister's attention that, nope, my name's not Alyssa. After this young lady left, my sister quickly searched through her messages on Facebook, which is how they kept in contact, which she said, by the way, they had messaged each other maybe 2 weeks earlier, so it was recent that she had contact with her.
Oh, no.
She finally found the message, and she smacked her head and said, of course, her name is Lacey, not Alyssa. That was fairly close, though.
Kind of.
Pretty good guess.
Kind of.
Lacey. She said, oh my gosh, I felt so bad and embarrassed. It's a good thing she's such a sweet and forgiving soul.
Oh.
So my question for you, Leslie, is if you hadn't seen someone for a while and they called you Lisa, they're like, how are you, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Would you correct them in that moment, or would you play along with it just so you wouldn't make them feel embarrassed?
I'd play along. I'm somebody who'd stay quiet.
Yeah.
Although I'd go home later and be like, how rude.
Yeah. I've had people do that with me before a few times where they'll call me Eric. They'll be really close, like a letter off. That happens. And even like Darren, I think I've been called Darren before. And I just kind of let it slide. I understand mistakes happen.
Yeah.
I don't like to make people feel embarrassed. I like hearing their embarrassing stories, but...
Yeah, I don't like making people feel embarrassed.
I don't like to make people feel like really stupid.
Although maybe doing it here and there would be fun.
Yeah.
No, I still wouldn't do it.
But hey, that can happen to anyone. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you listening. So, Jacqueline, don't feel too bad. It's natural for that to happen. At least you had enough guts to try a name.
Yeah.
A lot of people would just not say anything, but hey, at least you tried.
I would have stuck with sweetheart or buddy or...
Yeah.
That's what our neighbor called me for the first 8 years.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, she'd call me neighbor.
Yep. She still calls me that, or she says, hey, guy. She'll call me, hey, guy. I'm cool with that. It's fine.
She finally knows my name. Oh, man.
Okay. Let's see what you have to wrap up this episode.
Ooh, I've got another skirt story.
Another skirt story. Sorry, guys listening. Got to put up with skirt stories.
Yeah. Well, I think it happened. I think skirt malfunctions happen more and more, but this one happened to my sister. Becky, you're the best. Thanks for writing in.
Thanks, Becky. She's awesome. She's been sharing, like, both of our sisters have been amazing with sharing their embarrassing stories with us.
Yes, yes. So Becky says, our church had 2 main exits, but for our group, we mostly used one exit. It went right by our bishop's office. That area was always super busy and super congested. One Sunday, we were standing in the hall against the wall. Mind you, the hall was only 4 or 5 feet wide. We were waiting to speak with our bishop. As we waited, the normal congestion in the area of people occurred as everyone was pressing forward to leave and filtering out of this one spot, just like a funnel.
Oh. Birth canal hallway.
Serious. Man, I've experienced those kind of crowded areas at church and when I was in high school, especially in junior high.
Mm-hmm.
I stood looking down the hall as my 18-month-old toddled around, not going too far. I soon saw him coming to me, but not far from me, he tripped. To save himself from falling, he grabbed the nearest thing he could, which just happened to be my skirt.
Of course.
Yep. Lucky for me, it wasn't just any skirt. It was one that has the more loose elastic band. She put insert sarcastic eye roll here. Those are the comfy skirts. Everything seemed to slow down, and as he reached for my skirt and pulled it down, yep, I stood in this busy hall with my skirt around my ankles. I grabbed it very quickly and pulled it back to my waist where it belonged.
Oh.
But needless to say, I didn't look around to see who saw my misfortune.
Oh, man. Kids do the darndest things.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's not fun. Like, hello, everybody.
Just in case anybody was curious what I have under my skirt, you can thank my 18-month-old for that.
Yep. Well, I mean, it happens more than you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have a skirt story. I'll have to save it for another time, but it actually happened at Becky's wedding luncheon. So we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it.
We need to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, that'll do it. We'll wrap up our 6th episode there. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate your support. We hope you got a good laugh or few out of the stories today. And as always, if you have any embarrassing stories you'd like to share with us so that we can share them on a future episode, send them our way.
You can remain anonymous. You can make up a name. You can tell us who you are. We'd love to hear from you and share your embarrassing stories.
Absolutely. And you can send those to us through our website, embarrassingpodcast.com. We have a button on there where you can click to share your story, or you can just send them to our email address at embarrassingstoriespod@gmail.com. And just a reminder, embarrassing has 2 R's, 2 S's.
Until next time,
have fun,
be safe,
and go create some embarrassing stories that we can share.
Have another great week, and we will catch you next time.